All over the world, wherever you are, we're seeing a mandate to return to the office. Everybody come back. We want you all in. Jeff Phillips, you're here with us giving some wisdom on the state of play, particularly in the accounting profession. What is going on? Do we need to be concerned? Is this a problem?
Yeah, it's a problem.
Can you solve it for us?
That's a tougher question, but yeah, I mean, I think Rob, we started our series talking about a simple catchphrase: "The race for talent is over, and the talent won." We've surveyed accounting talent globally, and they've told us that being on call and being in the office and requiring work, being nailed to a desk, is not what they want. And so, what we're doing is making them just spoon feeding them really more of the same. I don't think it has a happy ending, but it does have a happy ending for some, I think.
Well, that's what we're going to dive into today. What question are we essentially asking here? We're asking, what do accounting firms need to do here to take advantage of what might be an opportunity or to mitigate a risk? And you're right, Jeff. We've defined the talent shortage. We've defined the value prop of accounting. This essentially muddies the waters. It makes it worse. It makes it more problematic for firms to attract and retain talent. So, is this an opportunity for anyone here?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about the opportunity. Rob, I mostly live in the world of the small firm, and over here in the United States, there's like 30,000 of them,
Yeah.
and they're all trying to hire people. So if large corporations, okay, we've seen articles about what Amazon and big four firms are pushing people back to the office, and I see why. Like, we can talk about that, but what do we know? We know that the talent has told us what they want. So if you're a small firm or a middle market firm, this is an opportunity to people want to stay in accounting. They enjoy the noble profession that they get to serve businesses and individuals on important matters. So give them what they want and do it in a structured, intelligent way. And you should be able to make pretty quick hires with this by hiring remotely and building up a hybrid style firm.
Well, we're seeing lots of news stories about Amazon, Dell, other big corporations demanding a return to the office for all kinds of reasons. Are they any different to the accounting profession? Can we isolate those as corporate, whereas we're in professional services? Or similar problems, similar people, similar outcomes?
Well, one of the companies that required a return to office is SpaceX and Tesla. And if they're engineering type companies, I get it. I think that makes the most logical sense. It's hard to build a product together if you're remotely, if especially if it's a physical product. Engineers need to be working on the tangible product. In service organizations, I don't think so. And it's not just large corporations that are mandating return to office, Rob. Look at goingconcern.com, and they're keeping track of the accounting firms that are
Mm.
requiring this. So it is happening in accounting. It's happening at the larger firms, and probably at the middle and smaller firms. Maybe they missed the trend post COVID to allow remote work in the first place. But what I know is happening is a lot of talented people are not happy that their lifestyle and is now changing. Commutes are now being added to their day.
Mm.
I talked to a senior accountant at a firm in New York City that spent 2 hours a day in his car, and he said he would take a pay cut
Mm.
to not have to do that ever again. And he can take a pay cut because there are thousands of remote jobs open in the accounting space. Just look on Indeed or look on ZipRecruiter, and they're there. So if they're there, the talent's going to head that way. So if I own a middle market or a small firm, I jump on that and think about hiring remote talent.
What is driving this? Is it this empty real estate and long-term leases that accounting firms have with their offices and wanting to get people back? Is it a trust issue? Is it a culture issue? Is it a command and control? We can't keep an eye on you. Is it a productivity issue? What's
It
behind this?
it is all of those
All of
things, and
those.
all of those are legitimate reasons. Okay, I'm not here to say that it's harder to do training, for instance, with remote staff. It
Yeah.
is a little bit harder, but it can be done. Culture is a concern, productivity is a concern, but there, look through our catalog of conversations, Rob. There's an answer for every one of those concerns,
Yeah.
and so you ever heard the phrase, you should zig when others zag?
Yeah.
This is a zag opportunity for small accounting firms on either side of the Atlantic Ocean, Rob, like you and I are, to take advantage of a trend and hire freelancers, hire domestic staff, and hire global um, remote staff. And there's one other thing I want to mention. What's not going away is an increase in offshore talent recruitment. Okay, that's
Okay.
not going away. So we're trying to pull in the reins on domestic, but we're doubling down on offshore. And so that's the interesting contradiction that I'm seeing. Accountants are frustrated by this too, because as firms export more and more jobs to overseas and you can't come back to the office,
Mm.
how do you feel about that? That's going to create a lot of resentment in the employer. I've advocate for offshore, but what I advocate for is the new talent stack, which is a hybrid business model. There is an office for most firms, but there's key talented domestic players and key talented offshore players circled by freelance workers. It's the most profitable way to build a firm and is the most way to predictably and reliably hire talent, which is what we want. We've tied that to your ability to sell the firm and to find a buyer that I can predictably and repeatedly acquire clients and the talent to serve them. Hiring remote is the only surefire way to get that done.
What about the pushback from employees? We've had stories in the press from big corporations where the staff have said, we ain't coming back. And then the corporation, the employer said, well, when you're not going to be available for promotion, we're not going to train you, we're not going to give you the best jobs, we're not going to give you any pay rises. And the staff are like, okay, I
Great.
quit. I'm out. I heard the phrase today, the Great Resignation 2.0. So it's still there.
Quit your job and find a better employer.
But then the other side of that is the grass always seems greener on the other side. Might there be some wisdom in trying to make the job you've got work with a hybrid model and pushing that? Maybe if you haven't got the voice in the agency to change the structure of the firm, you can't do that.
I don't know that I'd want to work for a place that is telling me that I can't be promoted if I don't work in the office, but it's fair for an employer to have bright lines and rules around their culture.
Mm.
And I respect that. But if I don't like that, I have options, and just get on any job board and type in remote accounting jobs and enjoy your options. It's a mistake, by the way, to make that bright line, in my humble opinion. But gosh, let's not retreat from the gains that we've gained in the past few years.
And one thing we could say about the accounting profession is, unlike maybe a lot of the tech jobs out there, a lot of unemployed people struggling to find work, accountants really ought not to be short of employment opportunities, should they? If they do quit a job, there should be plenty in demand there and plenty of options for them to be rehired.
Unemployment in the accounting industry in the United States is less than 2%.
Yeah.
Every accountant that wants a job has a job. This is a fairly recession-proof industry. Even if you see layoffs at big corporate accounting firms like the Big Four and the top 10, which have had them, there's so many open spots. And there's more jobs than there are people to fill them in the U.S. I imagine it's the same in the U.K.
Mm.
And so, no, this is not a hard time to find a job in accounting.
I'm just thinking, Jeff, we've seen stories of big four firms laying off thousands and thousands of employees. Maybe a COVID glut, maybe they overhired, maybe the restructure, maybe AI is taking up some of the slack. Just give us a little bit of insight into what's happening there. And if these people are flooding the job market, how does that play out?
That is happening. But like I said, there are more open positions than there are people to fill them.
Still.
So if you're in the accounting space and you've been laid off, look at the tens of thousands of happy employers that would love to build their firm around you in a hybrid business format.
Yeah. Which leads me to the question I wanted to ask, is return to office always bad? That there has to be some positives to bringing people back in.
My son is 16. I am thinking about his career.
Yeah.
And What I don't want for him is to be a 22-year-old college graduate in accounting or finance and start his career in a remote position. I don't think that's what I want for him, because I do believe that there are incredible benefits and growth opportunities when you work for a company inside its office. So absolutely not. The return to work is not all bad. I think it's a strategic miscalculation for accounting firms based in the United States to make that calculation, because we're already struggling with talent. It's going to drive people away. However, I'm an advocate for the small firm. My job is to be an advocate for 300 small firms in the United States and Canada at Paget, and through Accounting Fly, I'm helping small firms find talent. So my message to you all is go and hire these wonderful people because they want jobs. Maybe they aren't clear on the value proposition of a small firm, but the value proposition is amazing. You could be a partner in a short amount of time. You could buy the firm out and become an entrepreneur and own a business. You can have a better lifestyle, a lower workload, still working on important work for business clients and personal clients. So this is an opportunity for that group.
Mm. You're on the record, Jeff, as saying, yes, the office is an asset, but denying not hiring remote first talent is a loss. Just explain that to us.
The office isn't a liability. The office is an asset. The new vision that I'm espousing is a hybrid workforce where we have key players in the office, key players domestically who are remote, key players who are domestic freelance talent, and key players who are offshore and remote talent. It's the new talent stack, Rob.
Yeah.
And so if we can embrace this and build the structure around that, you can hire anyone you want in a short amount of time. And isn't that better than waiting 18 months to hire a tax manager in Toledo, Ohio? Like the firm I know in Toledo has waited 18 months for that hire to be filled. The pain of not having that key position in a small firm is dramatic, and it impacts the other people on the staff. It impacts the owners and partners, and it could be brutal. So let's fill the jobs and build great project management around them and great hybrid culture and great work-life flexibility, and survey our staff to be better employers of people. You will win with this strategy in the long run.
Yeah. And would you be an advocate of firms proactively hiring? Maybe they've not got the work there, but they see good people out there and they don't want to wait for those people to, for a vacancy to come up so they can snap those people up, because those people will be long gone. So we hear of overhiring, don't we? So that you can grow into that.
In my world of small firms, it's easier to find clients than it is to find people to serve the clients. Right. So with 31 million businesses in the United States market and 240 million individual taxpayers, we're not short on business. In fact, I'm in touch frequently with small firm owners who are turning away new business. And why are they doing that, Rob?
Yeah.
Because they don't have the staff to fulfill the business.
No.
Right. So lay off all the people you want, PwC. The small firms in America and globally will be hiring these people and plugging them into their firm, getting their pricing right, and building profitable, high-performing teams.
From what you know of Big Four, Jeff, and you've admitted that you work in the small, mid-tier range, how employable is a Big Four cast-off? Let's put them that way, because I've heard they go so deep and so specialized that they're not rounded professionals in that regard. They might even focus on one specific part of an audit.
Sure.
So you put them out there in the workplace and they've not got the general skills that a smaller firm might want. Is there any merit in that?
Yeah, there's merit to that. But what they do have is incredible training. These large firms have amazing training programs. They have a credential typically as a CPA or perhaps enrolled agent. They've got quality work experience. It translates. A small firm I'm close with, their son worked at a Big Four. The mom and dad wanted to retire. He came and worked at the firm for 2 years to apply the principles that he learned in college and at the large firm to the small business market. Well, he's now acquired that firm from his parents. The parents are on a cruise currently because they've retired and they're happy. And now he's an entrepreneur and updating the systems inside the small firm. So yeah, there's a training challenge there, but there's also an answer. They may not come in day one with the exact skill set that you need, but make the hire. When we know that, if you have the mindset of I'll hire really good people as they come around to me, your business will likely grow into that, and take the time to train. That's a dip in your own productivity in the short term and a massive growth in productivity in the long term. And you just might find a buyer for your firm if you're a small firm, which a lot of solopreneurs in the accounting space are looking for people to buy their firms. And there's not a lot of buyers out there. Hire your buyer, and it solves everybody's problem.
What's going to happen to the firms that insist on a return to office for everyone? Even 4 days a week seems a big ask of today's talent market, that have got used to the autonomy, the flexibility, the freedom of choosing how and where they work whilst maintaining the productivity and value to the firm.
I think some people will stay and buy in, and that's great. I think there's a lot of benefits to that. And I think some people will not buy in and will want the lifestyle that they built for themselves while they work remotely, if they're good, and they'll have no problem finding a job. I think it's good for the firms that are making this policy, and I think it's great for the firms who are embracing remote work, because they're going to catch all the apples that are going to fall from the tree.
So summarizing what I'm hearing here, choosing to hire remote first is a competitive advantage for you. It's a differentiated proposition in the talent marketplace. Creating a hybrid workforce with lots of flexible options, with high trust, a good culture, good employee development, anywhere options, work anywhere options. That's the win. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's the win. Yeah. I mean, the headline is the return to office will work for some. It will create hiring opportunities for middle market and smaller firms. Take advantage of that opportunity and do exactly what Rob said. Build a great culture around a hybrid workforce, have some key players at remote, build a structure that works for all, and you'll win.
Jeff Phillips, that's been exceptional. Thank you so much for shedding light on what are murky waters and dark times in some ways for accounting firms, and in others, the way forward is illuminated. There are so many possibilities and so many opportunities, so many options. We wish you well. Thank you for tuning in to the Accounting Influencers. I'll say that again because that's the wrong podcast. Thank you for thank you for tuning in to the Accounting Talent Podcast.